Okay, so today we're going to go over how to make a silicone mold of our relief projects. This is not a requirement, but if you want to do it, I would suggest it. Mainly because at least putting the silicone on top of it will protect it enough for you to get it back to campus so we can cast it in whatever materials you want to once you get back. If you're happy with it the way it is and want to be done, that's fine as well. The first thing we're going to need is the GE Silicone 1 Clear All-Purpose 100% Silicone. This is important as I've tried other kinds and they haven't worked as well. You can get this at Lowe's. The first thing we're going to have to do to it is open it. You can either do it with like a box cutter or you can use a pair of wire cutters as well, which is what I've got handy right now. So I'm going to cut that off. Be aware that it might shoot it off to the side like the wire did. So from here, we also have to shove something inside of it, just like I showed you in class, to break the inside seal. So this is very important as to keep from making a huge mess. We rolled up wire. Anything that you don't mind getting silicone on will work fine. This is just a scrap rod that I had in the studio. So that's open and ready to go. The next thing we need is our bucket of water. So this is a bucket. I've got between 3 and 4 inches of water in it. That's going to give me enough water to get my hand in, as well as getting the caulking gun and the caulk inside so I can do it that way. I'm also using Blue Dawn dish soap. That's what's going to keep this stuff from sticking to everything. So I've got the water in first, which is important, and then I'm just going to add quite a bit of the soap until it's a nice blue color. So I don't want it to be all foamy or all bubbly, so I'm just going to kind of go in with my hand and move it around. And that's about the right color. You want to be able to move your fingers around and kind of feel that it's got, some soap there so they slide around on each other. So I'm going to move this to the side. We also have a caulking gun. So they're fairly standard. This is a spring-loaded one. I've got it all the way open right now. I'm going to put the back of the caulk in first and then pull the trigger until it holds it in place. Once that happens, it's going to start shooting the silicone out. To get it out, you push this and you pull this back, and then it'll fall right out. So that's how that's going to work. So this is the relief that I did just to kind of give you all a demonstration. With the piece of wood that I gave you, I told you to leave a 1-inch border around the outside with your clay. So I didn't do that. I just kind of built a border so that I could use the entire board. But I've got this kind of permanent thing on the outside. So you won't go all the way over the edge of your wood. You'll go all the way over your clay, which has that 1-inch border. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put both my hands into the soapy water. Then I put the tip of the caulking gun in and I shoot the caulk out of the gun into my hand underwater. This will keep it from sticking to your hands and to your clothes. While the caulk is underwater, I'm going to knead it just a little bit to distribute some of that soap, and therefore it's not sticking to my hand at all. If it's sticking to your fingers, you either need to put it back in the soapy water or you need to add a little bit more soap to your water. You don't want it sticking to stuff because it's a very strong adhesive. But a golf ball size of the silicone is about how much you want to use. We'll go back to the relief. And then you'll remember that in class, I told you that you should work from one corner and then work your way across. That way, if it starts to dry during the process, what you're still adding material to will still be kind of wet. This also puts off a very strong vinegary smell, so it might be a good idea to do it outside and to leave it outside. So you want to kind of work pretty quickly. This stuff is somewhat transparent. It's kind of translucent. You want it to be between 1/8 and 1/4 inch thick. And you can kind of tell that by the transparency of it. But you have to go all the way over the edge of your clay. Again, you're not going over the whole board. You're just going over the raised portion where you left your 1-inch border. So a common mistake that people have when they're doing this is that they don't just press it into place. A lot of people have a tendency to want to smear it like this, and that's bad because that doesn't make a good mold. If you press it, what it's doing is it's pressing that material into any seams that you might have. So if you notice, once I actually start to get to the clay, when I'm pressing it down, it pushes it into that material, so it's going to get those edges really well. If you smear it, that doesn't work nearly as well, and you get a lot more air bubbles. So you've got to be sure that you're pressing it into that area rather than smearing it. You also want to be sure you're getting into all of those areas. So I try to keep my head a little further away from it because I do not care for the vinegar smell. So you've got to kind of think about that when you're working. And if you're in a ventilated area, this stuff isn't really toxic, but it does kind of not smell great. You also have to think about the edges, like because I'm using the wood as my kind of raised portion instead of just the clay, I've got to build it up a little bit more at the edges so it doesn't tear when I actually start to, when the mold's complete and I'm trying to take it out of the mold. So mine's just a little bit bigger than your all's. And it appears as if I'm going to get about half of it out of one tube of caulk. So I would say that for yours, 2 tubes should be fine if you don't do it excessively thick. It's not a good idea to have to kind of go get materials while you're in the middle of this. So you're better off having too much than not enough. So you might, be on the safe side. You could always get 3 tubes instead of 2. That way you'll know you'll have enough to complete this. So I'm still on my first tube, but it's just about gone. pushing it's going to make sure it gets into all those little areas. It picks up a lot of detail also. So this will pick up fingerprints, it'll get all the little texture that you may have rendered within your model. And this is the end of my first tube. So I'm just going to put it right here. All right, so to replace the tube, I'm going to press this in, pull this out, and then I can push this back and just pop it out. So now I've got to prepare the second one just like I did the first. Cutting the tip off. Breaking the seal. And I'll continue. Again, you do want to do this fairly quickly because this stuff can start to dry. So the faster you can do this, the better, but you also want to do it correctly because that is also important. So you don't want to push it so hard that it's going to actually manipulate the clay that's underneath it. It doesn't really take a whole lot of pressure, just enough to kind of get it into all of those little areas. I think one more glob ought to do it. So again, what I want you to remember is that you shouldn't go all the way over the edge of your wood. You're just covering the clay portion because you have to leave that extra inch on the outside of your wood. So you should just be covering your clay, and your inch will end up being this. So I can see a little air bubble in there, so I'm going to try to work that out. And I'm just kind of breaking that up a little bit. And now I'm just going to put a little bit more clay into that area. And all you have to do if you see an air bubble is just kind of dig in there and pop it, just like you would with any other material, and then I'm just going to cover it up again. And it really only matters if the air bubble is on the surface of the clay. If it's in the middle, like some of these little ones are, it's not a big deal. Okay, so that's pretty much this process. What I want to know is I want to know if anybody actually wants to do the plaster portion. So I want you to email me if you're actually going to do this. And if you just want to get to this step, that's fine, and then you can bring it back to campus, and next semester or whenever we come back, we will be able to complete the process here.